The song that saved me started with a simple rhythm part on my Strat that sounded like this. I started playing it between a bunch of stressful meetings in 2023 when I was really struggling with Gen AI disruption and my place in the tech world. Feeling exhausted from rebelling against the AI boom and wrestling with the thought that I'd have to leave tech entirely, I began to slip into an existential dilemma. At the time, I was listening to The Knock by Hop Along because that song always put me in a better mood. I love how sparse the mix is, yet powerful and emotive. In particular, I felt moved by Francis Quinlan's lyrics and vocal performance, and the distinct parts hitting my soul from the left and right speaker respectively. Add in the drums and bass, and you get this sort of playful, polyrhythmic composition that relies only on the organic space in the song to accomplish the sort of ear candy experience made entirely of sustained chords and reverberant wash. At the end of the song, a piano part comes into focus, and it made me wonder, wait, was that piano part present the whole time in the song? It's such a great song. Going back to that rhythm part I was playing around with, while feeling down and confused, I started recording it using my favorite component-level amp modeling plugin from MixWave, the Milkman Creamer. I'd close my eyes while listening and try to hear a lead part that might accompany what I suppose you could call the melody. After listening to that same part on repeat about 100 times, I began hearing the lead part in my mind, so I grabbed a different guitar and I used the Benson amp plugin from MixWave and tried learning what I was hearing before it went away. The lead part I was hearing felt complicated to play, so I learned it a few different ways after recording a rudimentary version, just so I wouldn't lose that part. That stuff doesn't always come back, so I try to capture it whenever it's there. A lot of times, I'll write a section like this and then try to venture away from it to keep a song interesting and complex enough to never sound repetitive. But what I found with this melody is that it just made me so happy. I wanted to keep it present throughout the song, but not have it be the centerpiece for the entire song. Because I felt too emotional to sing or write lyrics for this one, I ended up developing a bass part that, at least to me, is what adds color and movement to the track in the verse sections. The chorus section is, as my friend Tom caught on to, inspired by the early guitar layers in the Strokes' Is This It album, as well as songs like 1901 by Phoenix, and definitely tracks by Interpol like Narc, where a lot of downbeat strumming chords don't change as much as the instruments around them create the lyrical and instrumental narrative. The other challenge I wanted to incorporate into the song that saved me was using edge-of-breakup guitar tones that are almost clean, but right there on the cusp of bitey distortion. A lot of times my tracks end up being a deluge of guitar parts, and it can be overwhelming, especially when I'm working with heavily distorted guitar parts and high gain amp tones. Even though it's a lot of fun to record heavy guitar layers, when it comes to mixing my own stuff and revising songs to have a more commercial appeal, I have to temper my habit of letting the guitar take over everything. So going back to the Knock by Hopalong, I wanted to write parts that allowed for space in the song that could hopefully even surprise the listener a bit as the track guides them through the thematic arc of the track. Once I started programming drums and putting it all together, I found myself slowly climbing out of one of the more extreme dark spells I'd fallen into over the years. I think it's fair to say that I don't always handle major change well. I'm quite particular about things like my work environment, the clothing material I wear, sound and light. And when I began writing this song, it came to me in the middle of several life changes outside of the ever-changing world of tech, which I've worked in since the actual year 2000. On a personal level, I was struggling with AI disruption, as I mentioned earlier, but we had also just moved in the middle of an emotional family time. As part of the move, I dismantled my home studio and began putting it together in a much smaller space. Even as we faced challenges with our new apartment in a very old building and obstacles in the place we just left, I kept chiseling away at the track. I'd listen to exported versions as I went between locations during the move, and then think of new parts as I was out in the world. Whenever that happened, I'd race home to the computer console to record, and if I couldn't get there in time, I'd just hum the parts into my phone's voice memo app, which I do often. It really gave me a sense of purpose as I navigated a tsunami wave of depression and anxiety that, without the discipline to create something from it, would have left me worse off. So even though my novice audio engineering acumen will never hold a candle to the track that originally inspired me to pursue a sparse mix, held together by the quality of musical composition that makes up its parts, the song that saved me still makes me very happy every time I hear it. It reminds me of the importance of creative expression and how music is a conduit. It reminds me that music is an excellent form of meditation and, for me, an essential ingredient to a balanced life. So whether I'm listening to music or making it, I need it. I'm grateful to all the musicians who put it out there for me to absorb, and I hope the song resonates with you as well. Be sure to check out the video description for ways you can hear the track for yourself. And as always, thanks for watching. If you like this sort of content, I would be honored if you would consider subscribing to the channel to hear more stories like this. It helps me tremendously as I work to build the channel out. Thanks again.